But right now I feel like a, you know, you've got a stone in a slingshot, and the slingshot is being pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, and you let go, and that stone or that arrow gets flung into the distance, into the future.
And welcome back to Carter's in the Car. And yes, we're in the hot seats again. It's the daytime for Carter's in the Car, and it's a rip-roaring 40-something degrees.
Yes.
And Jason's in the serious hot seat today. He's back to driving.
Yeah.
And so, Jason, lockdown.
Oh yeah, lockdown. Well, in Bahrain, we've been lucky because we had about 6 weeks to 8 weeks last year. When COVID first started, but unfortunately cases have been rising in Bahrain in the last few weeks, so the government rightly has imposed another lockdown for 2 weeks initially.
And what does that lockdown exactly involve?
Shopping malls will be closed, I think government offices will be closed, schools are closed, so only essentials are open basically.
Yeah, restaurants, everything. But you can still get takeout, can't you?
Yeah, takeaways are still possible, delivery is possible, but no sitting in and no gatherings of more than 6 people. Yeah,
and actually I think for the first time they've actually no, they did do that in the beginning. They've closed beaches as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I think for some people they'll be relieved because the cases were rising in Bahrain, and I know a lot of people are feeling under a lot of pressure to have to be in work and that kind of thing. So some people are relieved that they can be safe. So that's good. But I think for other people, it's like a dark cloud descending.
Yeah.
And I noticed that a few people posted on Facebook, and I was just thinking that actually we need to be present. We need to be here for people. And though we can't have gatherings, you can meet up with one friend. There's no rules stopping people from meeting up, and I think it's really important in this time that we reach out to others who might be alone, single people that don't have much money, and that for them this time's scary. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think there's a tendency for some people, especially, I think it affects introverts and extroverts in different ways.
Yeah.
I think introverts tend to become more introspective when they feel pressure, and extroverts too in a different way. And I always presumed that I was, well, I consider myself to be an ambivert. So I do get energy from vibrant situations and people, but I absolutely need silence and peace and isolation to get my energy back. Whereas extroverts seemingly get their energy from people. I also do, but it's a complicated one. So the last, the whole 18 months of coronavirus in Bahrain, we haven't left the country for 18 months, just because it was not easy to do so. It's been challenging for me. I feel like I'm a caged animal, basically. And yeah, I do.
Tiger,
yeah.
down boy.
Yeah. So I feel like a caged animal, and wanting to get out of here, and I guess I'm an extrovert then in that case.
Yeah, well, I think the main thing is that our lives have suddenly become much more like at home, and Jason hasn't been, doing concerts or doing a lot of things which will bring him a lot of interaction with people. And so I think, for me, it's been an interesting revelation because I have loved the sort of more time at home, which I've never had. And so me, the born extrovert, is actually thinking, more of this lovely quiet time and loveliness. And Jason's like, let me out of here.
Yeah, I think partly, we're driving around these streets, and you probably, if you've seen a few of these shows, you're probably starting to recognise quite a few streets that we drive down, because we try to drive around locally and also quiet roads so the microphones can pick up the voices easily without too much traffic and wind noise. However, I've been driving these streets every day for 1.5 years, and that's unusual. I mean, I grew up in Cornwall, right? And in a small town in Cornwall, and I would cycle or drive the same streets to work or school every day. But then weekends I'd cycle to Plymouth, or I would drive to Bristol or something like that, or go into Cornwall. And so, for me, I've seen the same shops, the same faces, the same cars, the same time every day for 1.5 years. And Bahrain's such a tiny island, there's not really many places to go. The causeway's closed to Saudi, you can't go to Saudi, or it's just open now, but the longest you can drive in Bahrain is about 35 to 40 kilometers max.
Yeah.
And that can be done in about 45 minutes.
So he really is a caged animal.
So, you know...
I mean, he once drove, how far was it? For all that huge trip you did in Finland, all on your own?
Yeah, on my own, I drove 3,500 kilometers.
Wow.
I drove up to the northern sea, the North Sea, the North Cap, well not the North Cap, but I guess that is the North Sea, yeah.
Yeah.
And Utsjoki, the most northern Finnish village, the reindeer village. And
Wow.
yeah, so for me, that open space and open road, but it's not just that. As I mentioned before, seeing the same streets and the same people every day, more or less. I miss that visual. I mean, as a visual person, I miss that visual stimulation of new things, of new kinds of clouds, of new kinds of trees, of new kinds of people. And as a touring musician, I got that on a monthly basis. And so there was this constant sense of stimulation and reinvention and so on. And so I feel, if I'm honest, I only feel about 1/3 of the person that I'm meant to be at the moment. So it's kind of quite depressing. And so I'm looking forward to getting out of Bahrain in a few weeks to France.
Yeah.
I'm counting the days, to be honest. And it's not about Bahrain, it's about the situation that we've been in and being restricted, so well restricted. And so I found it difficult. However, and it's not all doom and gloom, I think that I've discovered new gifts or new ways of working and new ways of thinking that have helped me, and I've needed to I think mentally progress, and I wouldn't say survive, because I wouldn't say I was dying, but to progress through this situation. So yeah, it's been challenging, but being for us and for me especially, you know, I earn my living from creativity.
Yeah.
Making films, making music, and so it's also been a good thing that I've had time, less money, but time to invest in creative ideas. And so I've developed some new skills, new editing skills, new ideas for music and so on, because I've had to be in one place. So, but right now I feel like a, you know, you've got a stone in a slingshot, and the slingshot is being pulled back and pulled back and pulled back. Or a bow and arrow, you know, it's the tension of the bow, and you pull back to the point where you can't pull back anymore, and you let go, and that stone or that arrow gets flung into the distance, into the future. And that's what I feel coronavirus has done for me. So I think that I'm going to go crazy.
We're about to be released.
About to be released. I think there's going to be a velocity and speed in me that I've never seen before in terms of thinking processes and doing things and being active.
Amazing.
And so, but it's going to be a bit scary because I might look like a manic depressive. Like, oh, help me!
Well, don't leave me behind.
I won't leave you behind.
Yeah, so we always want to keep it like positive in this show. So, guys, if you've got something positive to share with us about either your hopes for after we get out of all this, or something positive that's happened with you during this time, this 1.5 years, then please comment below, and we will always reply to your comments.
That's right. And for those of you in Bahrain, or not in Bahrain, but those of you who are in Bahrain, please feel free to reach out if you need food, if you need a phone call, if you need a delivery of something, or if you need us to come with a team of people and sing outside your front door. And for those of you who live further afield, I see that the rest of the world is actually doing very well. I mean, the restrictions are opening and people are going to the beach and eating in cafes, and for us it's now the other way. I think we are sort of following the trend of India right now. So yeah, so for those of you in this region who are struggling with anything, please reach out on YouTube, or if you know our numbers, then send us a message. And if you want to know our numbers, ask us for those numbers.
So it's over and out from Cards in the Car.
Bye.